Good morning. On behalf of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus, I would like to welcome you to our Sunday service. I am Isabel Call, and it's my pleasure to serve this congregation as the Assistant Minister of Pastoral Care. Let's begin our time together by acknowledging the land which holds us, home of the Adena, the Hopewell, the Wyandotte, the Miami, the Seneca, and the Cayuga. Gathered here and online, may we be grateful, thoughtful, and humble. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in one verse of our opening song, Gather the Spirit. Come on up. If you're at home, feel free to belt it out. If you're here in the worship center, please hum, sharing your love but not your breath. Again, please hum. We're trying not to project too much. So, gather the Spirit.
Good morning again. My name is Kelly McNeil. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as the Director of Congregational Life here at First Unitarian Universalist of Columbus. If you are visiting with us this morning, welcome. We are so very glad that you are here. If you're in the building, I invite you to say hello after the service at the Welcome Center out in the Welcome Hall. We have a visitor's gift for you there. If you are visiting with us online, welcome as well. I invite you, as well as anyone watching our live stream, to let us know that you are here by clicking the link in the chat and filling out the check-in form. If you are new here and are looking for a way to learn more about First UU and Unitarian Universalism, or maybe you've been a member for a while and would like a refresher course, I invite you to register for our Beyond Inquirers class, which begins tomorrow on Zoom. You will need to register in order to get the Zoom link, so you can visit our website or send me an email and put in the subject line, register for class, and I'll make sure that you get that Zoom link tomorrow. And I want to just very briefly go over our QR code that we introduced last week. It's up here on the screen, and it's also on the doors as you enter the building. We ask that you scan that and let us know that you are in the building whenever you are here, so that way if we need to do contact tracing, we can do that. The code will also take you to a web page where you'll find our order of service, our joys and sorrows form, and our donation button to donate to share the plate later in the service. If you're here with us in person and have a check or cash that you would like to donate instead, back in the back with Elaine back there is a basket that you can drop off your donation after the service, or we have a new credit card swiper as well. You can use that. Back there is Paula and Elaine, our ushers. So if you have any questions at all during the service or after the service, they are there to provide any answers. So That is all for my announcements this morning, and I will invite Nathan to play our prelude.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Nathan. I'm Reverend Dr. Marian Stewart, and it's my pleasure to serve this congregation as senior minister. If you are joining us online, I invite you to grab your chalice or candle, bring it nearby so we can light our chalice together. Our chalice lighting words this morning are from that prolific author, Anonymous. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and aspire to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated human beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other.
Good morning again. I'm still Isabel Call, Assistant Minister of Pastoral Care. Amber Scott, our Director of Religious Education, is off today. She'll be back next Sunday. Classes for families with children are happening during the worship service outside on the SYC playground. After the story, you will have the opportunity to join our other families outdoors. Our story today is called The Cat's Lost Bread. Once upon a time, there was a family of cats who lived together in a house. Black cat, blue cat, and green cat. Every night after dinner, Blue Cat would bake 3 loaves of bread for their breakfast the next day. But one morning, they could only find 2 loaves of bread. One of the loaves had disappeared. The next day, another loaf of bread was gone. What should we do? They wondered. There must be a thief. Let's take turns guarding the loaves overnight, suggested Green Cat. But they ate so much they fell asleep. None of the cats stayed up guarding the bread. The same thing happened the next night. Again, they decided to take turns guarding the bread, and again, they all fell asleep. And so they didn't catch the thief. Their bread kept disappearing. One day, Black Cat was cleaning, and she saw a small hole under the bed. Who dug this hole, she wondered. Come, look, she called to all the other cats. Maybe the thief comes in through this hole. You're right. We must try to catch the thief, they exclaimed. That evening, Blue Cat baked 3 loaves of bread, and all 3 cats hid inside the room to wait for the thief. Late that night, a big yellow mouse emerged from the hole under the bed. It quietly scampered toward the table where the loaves of bread were. The cats leapt out of their hiding spots. We caught you, they yelled. Give us back our bread. I'm so sorry for stealing your bread, said the mouse. But I'm too sick to work, and I don't have enough money to buy food. I was taking this bread to feed my family. The mouse introduced his children to the 3 cats. And indeed, they did look very hungry. Now the cats knew why their bread had been taken, and they didn't feel angry anymore. So the next day, Blue Cat baked a whole bunch of loaves of bread. He baked enough for all 3 cats and for the whole family of mice. And they have been friends ever since. The end. In this story, the cats were able to look past their plans for breakfast and extend hospitality and care to their neighbors, the mice, instead of feeling angry. And we had our stereotypes about cats and mice shaken up a little bit. Sometimes things don't go according to our expectations, and that can be hard or confusing. But when we are able to be gentle, loving, and forgiving of ourselves and others, it opens us up to new and often wonderful possibilities. Children, youth, and families who would like to participate in outdoor Sunday school are invited to head towards the playground during this next song. So it is my role for the next couple of weeks to invite you to share your joys and sorrows so we may more fully know and support each other. To participate in the caring meditation, or to ask for pastoral or practical support with a difficulty in your life, you can fill out the joys and sorrows form. You can find it by scanning the QR code that Kelly talked about earlier. Or if you're having a difficult time with the QR code, you can go to our website, firstuucolumbus.org/Sunday. If we receive your joy or sorrow in the next few minutes, we'll read it aloud later during the caring meditation. The form is also available throughout the week. So now is the time to fill out the joys and sorrows form, or if you like, simply rest, knowing that we are here together, each in our own way.
Our centering words this morning are all about our monthly theme of engaging possibility. They're found in this month's Soul Packet, and if you need your packet, your copy, pick it up on your way out if you're in person, or see Kelly because there's also an online link. I believe it's in your Friday announcements. It's rich with stories and rituals and song, video links, all sorts of things are in there, all about our monthly theme of embracing possibility. This reading is by Reverend Sandra Fees. It's titled, Another Direction. The moment comes when a choice arises, a holy moment. A decision must be made. Do I remain as I am, or do I risk inching, leaping, flowing in another direction? Do I risk what I think I already know I am? Do I forfeit my security for the possibility that a simple shift may alter the course of my life, even perhaps the life of another? I long to let go of all that restrains me so that I might pursue the impossible and surmount the insurmountable. To let go of anger, to let go of the need to be in control, to forgive a friend, to forgive myself, to refuse what thwarts my spirit, to refuse what limits my mind, to surrender to what will come, to surrender to this holy moment I have let slip away too long.
It's how I hold my head up after I have missed the mark. It's how I know I'm loved when things are dark. It's how I stand when I am feeling small. How I stand again after a fall. It's how I'm even standing here at all. Some people call it grace. Falling down like rain on everyone, so warm, like greetings from the sun, like a gentle snow is breaking every surface glow, and I know I didn't target. That's how I know it's grace. It's how two people keep their love alive through thick and thin. It's how the broken people sing again. It's how the wounded set aside their blame. How the down and out cast off their shame. It's how I know that holy is my name. We're all the same to grace.
Thank you to Michaela and the Spirit of Life Choir. Your music is much appreciated. Thank you. Our reading for this morning is titled, You Are the Screen. It's from Readings for Yom Kippur by Leif Leibowitz and tabletmag.com. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, as the legend goes, told his Hasidim a story about a king and a son who were always quarreling. Each time the prince would say or do something offensive or outrageous, each time the king was furious. He would banish the boy from the palace, and each time the prince would return, apologize to his father, and take his rightful place at the king's side. One day, incensed with his son's imprudent behavior, the king summoned his most trusted advisor and gave him a stern order. I've just banished the prince from the palace again, the king said, and you are commanded never to let him back in, no matter how strongly he pleads with you. The advisor nodded his head, and the very next morning, the prince, as usual, came back and begged for forgiveness. The advisor, fearing for his life, told the prince that he wasn't allowed back in, and the prince walked away, dejected. He returned the next day and again begging to see his father, and again the advisor had no choice but to turn him away. With each new day, the advisor's heart grew heavy. He knew that disobeying the king may have grave consequences, but he couldn't stand to be the one standing between a father and a son. Finally, unable to take it any longer, he went to see the king and, kneeling before the throne and trembling, begged the monarch to forgive the prince. Seeing the force of the advisor's emotion, the king immediately consented and never quarreled with his son again. We are all, Rabbi Nachman added, like that advisor. We all stand between the King of Kings, God Almighty, and the world, and we must all, against all odds, do whatever we can to bring the two together in peace. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, or at one-ment, is the most solemn of the Jewish holy days, the Sabbath of Sabbaths. It is when Jews believe they are closest to God in the essence of their souls. It is a time of introspection and asking for forgiveness. It is also a day with joy as God forgives and grants another year of life, health, and happiness. The Jewish congregation that meets here in this sanctuary, in this church, our church, that calls First UU its home, observed Yom Kippur this week. As is custom, they are building a sukkah, a temporary structure whose roof must be covered in organic material. They're building it outside next to our memorial patio. It represents the time spent in the wilderness during Exodus. The sukkah will be used this week in joyous celebration of Sukkot. That is how our Jewish congregation and friends celebrated Yom Kippur and are celebrating last week and this week and this whole season of holy days. At the beginning of this church year, I've been thinking a lot about where we go from here, and I'm thinking about it in light of Yom Kippur. This timing is wonderful. After many months of grueling pandemic, providing its own opportunity for introspection, among other things, I wonder, how can we not just go and leap into next year, to leap and recreate exactly as it was, as it used to be? Now, as a whole, Unitarian Universalists are known for a lot of good things, and we want to carry some of these forward. We're known for justice, community, and caring about each other and our environment. Sometimes, though, we fall short on introspection, patience, and humility. This is true to varying degrees across the denomination, congregations, and for us as individuals. Now is a moment when we can slow down. Now is a moment when we can look inward. Now is a moment when we can get real in our souls. Speaking for myself, you may find yourself in this, I don't know, but I have made mistakes over the past year. I have stumbled and I have fallen short. Sometimes I have hurt people, either knowingly or unknowingly. I have stumbled over words that have come out wrong, and my intents get garbled. I have fallen prey to gossip and listened when I should not. I have not been as kind as I could have been. I forget too often to keep love at the center. I ask for forgiveness. I invite you to take time this week to create your own litany, prayer, or meditation of where you have fallen short. Then ask forgiveness where it is possible. As a congregation, we must do the same. There are many of us, so we will each have our own list of where we've fallen short. And I say we because by definition, at its heart, a congregation is its people. First UU is us, all of us, in person, online, members, friends, and those in our larger community. There are things we have done very well, also, very well, together. We haven't just fallen short. We've met the mark on occasion. We are an education center community. Think about it. Hundreds of people of all generations come here to learn. The School for Young Children, also known as SYC, our Red Oak Community School that meets here, our very own religious exploration classes and programs for all ages. And when the pandemic eases, we will once again be host to several ESL classes and other groups that gather here to learn. We need to value that and lift it up instead of saying, woe is me, we don't do enough. We actually do a lot. We can celebrate this. And we can celebrate that we are a caring community with heart, a huge heart. In addition to our pastoral and caring ministries, which are strong and vital, we care for the larger community. We have helped feed people who are hungry for almost 30 years through Faith Mission. We feed people, hungry people at the YWCA. We help collect foods and supplies for people here in Columbus and in Athens County. In addition, we care about taking care of our beautiful and threatened environment. Our hearts are huge. Let's celebrate what we do. We are also a justice community. We do so much, the list is so long. I invite you to stop by the Justice Action Ministry table. Our Justice Action Ministry, known in short as JAM. I love that, a church with JAM. You can stop by after the service in person or go on our website or ask Amanda Hayes, our justice coordinator. They'll be glad to tell you more. And we also want diversity. It is a perennial goal, a fine goal, but it's just that, a goal. But diversity is also something that foils our best efforts. The wins are small in relationship to the possibilities. Endless cycles of big goals without progress too often can become sidelined or tokenized. They can also be self-defeating. That's where I believe Yom Kippur has lessons for us. I'm thinking about humility. Every year we set the same goal of increasing diversity, and it's a broad term that includes so much, but it is just that, a broad term. I believe that part of why we never feel like we achieve this goal, this high ideal, is a matter of scale. It's just too big and too amorphous. By setting an overarching goal of diversity, we set ourselves up for not meeting this goal. We set ourselves up for failure. Our hearts are in the right place, but there's always more. But it's the all-you-can-eat buffet in the Sunday afternoon lunchtime. As far as that adage goes, our eyes are bigger than our tummies. That's where we have to eat a little bit of humble pie and ask for forgiveness. What if our grand goal of diversity, really begins somewhere else? Not in just the setting of the goal, but it actually begins with us, with you, with me. Now, goals like this require more of us than we realize. And we get stuck. And people get hurt when we fail. And we are sorry. But Yom Kippur is more than acknowledging our shortcomings and asking for forgiveness. It is also about a fresh start for the year about to be. For this new church year, we can keep our goal. It's a fine goal, but what if we actually approached it differently? That we've used our time of introspection, this pandemic time of reimagining things. What if instead of getting lost in this immenseness of this goal of we want diversity, what if we actually looked at how we get there instead? What if we actually looked at the process? Could we do something radical, absolutely radical, that instead of just focusing on the goal, could we actually embrace possibility? This is more than semantics. It is change, behavior change in us. By focusing on the process with less emphasis on the final goal, the end goal, we engage in the actuality of making diversity possible. It's like filling your buffet plate using a fork or spoon rather than a shovel. Look at ways we each need to open our own minds and our own hearts. Change, even big ones, begin small. Change begins in our own hearts. It's how we look at something, how we approach something. If we truly want something, we must be willing to be open to this change. We must engage the possibilities of doing and being different. Reverend Sarah Lawal puts it this way: embracing possibility does not mean we stop short of acknowledging our own limitations, our challenges, our brokenness. Possibility rises only when we root ourselves in reality, in our truth as we understand it, and then consciously choose to move to the edges of certainty, to the edges of knowing, the edges of risk, and the edge of potential failure. Embracing possibility means we might fail. We might step in it. We might get stuff wrong. We might get hurt. We might disappoint people we love even. We might disappoint each other. Embracing possibility means enduring a few wounds along the way, but that should not stop us from living fully into possibility. That would be allowing fear to take over. I appreciate what Reverend Wall put before us in this reading. She invites us to fail. She invites us to experiment and risk failing again. But she invites us into this huge open space of possibility. What would it look like if we have this huge goal out there, this goal of diversity? What would it look like if we actually took time in our own hearts, in our own lives, to realize what might make that happen, what might make it a reality? It starts small, and it starts with us. This whole idea of embracing possibility works for almost anything. It's filled with wonder, with questions, with what ifs. Yes, there are hazards and risks, but it opens pathways to real change. It opens pathways to the heart. Now, I picked on this goal of diversity because we just had a board retreat a few weeks ago, and it's there again. It's been there the whole time since I've been serving this congregation, and I suspect it's been there for years before. And while we want to engage in diversity, we continue to struggle with what does it look like? How do we do it? But really, I could have chosen anything to focus on. Goals are just lofty words on a page if you don't have the process about how to go about doing it, to make it real. Process is about being human. The process, the daily living of being human, imperfect humans with hearts. If embracing possibility could help us here at church, what are the ways of embracing possibility that could help you in your life? Your life at home, your life with family, your life at work, and beyond. Where do we start? I believe we start with humility. We don't actually know it all. We might be smart, but we don't know it all. So we start with humility and forgiveness. It is only when we can begin again in love that change is possible. I believe we can do this. But in honor of Yom Kippur and this whole idea of forgiving ourselves and each other where we need to, we also look forward to a new year, a new start, a new church year, if you will, and hopefully in due time, a post-pandemic time and year and many years of possibility. What would it look like to engage in possibility? I wonder, what if? Blessed be and amen. And to help us, I'm going to invite us into a sung call and response. Brandon will lead us in the spoken word, and we will all join with the choir in responding. You will see the words on your screen. They're in the yellow box. I ask you to respond softly if you are here in person, respond as you need to. But please do, even if you just sit with it. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible. For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others. For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit. For losing sight of our unity. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
Beautiful. Thanks to Brandon for that. I'm Amanda Hayes, your Justice Coordinator, and part of how we begin again in love as Unitarian Universalists is to work for justice in how we spend our time and in how we spend our money. Our church is a community of love, caring, and generosity. Together we work for a more just world. To offer our gifts and pay our promise pledges is to say, yes, we are defined by our hearts and our deeper values. We have a variety of ways that you can give this Sunday. You can scan the QR code that's behind me. You can text to give, donate via credit card, cash, or check in the back after the service, or visit firstucolumbus.org/Sunday. Regardless of your ability to contribute, we value your presence here. Our Share the Plate recipient for September is You the Vote, a partner of the Democracy and Human Rights Focus Group of our Justice Action Ministry. You the Vote is a project of the Unitarian Universalist Association that supports UU's locally organizing for democracy in parts of the country where it will make the most difference. For the 2020 election, UU the Vote helped fund Unitarian Universalist Justice Ohio, or UJO, and its work in the Ohio Voter Rights Coalition. This week, you're invited to join UJO and its coalition partners at the State House this Wednesday, September 22nd, for a day of action against proposed anti-protest bills. And there's a whole bunch more information about that and other ways you can get involved at the jam table, which will just be right out there after the service. Our donations have a bigger impact when we give together. Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you, Nathan. I now invite forward our pastoral listeners to help lead the caring meditation. Take off my mask. So I invite forward the pastoral listeners to help lead the caring meditation. We have Bob Mills. Please come forward, pastoral listeners. You can come stand with Bob Mills. Come on up. So our pastoral listeners are available in person after the service if there's anything you need heard or witnessed. Thank you all. We also have other members of the pastoral team who are available throughout the week, so you can fill out the Joys and Sorrows form anytime during the week if you'd like to connect. So our meditation words. As we hummed earlier, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. We forgive ourselves, knowing that it is impossible to be perfect. We forgive ourselves, feeling the truth that we are inherently good and worthy. We forgive ourselves, trusting transformation. We forgive each other as soon as possible, but no sooner. We forgive each other without forgetting what remains unfinished. We forgive each other, respecting ourselves and our deep capacity for love. With self-respect and deep compassion, we begin again in love. With dedication and imperfect grace, we begin again in love. With honesty and hope, we begin again in love. We had one joy that came in this morning from Michaela and William Brown, who are joining us here. They are expecting a baby boy in February. So happy for you. And these are the joys that came in during the week.
We have 3 birthdays to celebrate. Kathleen B. celebrated her 89th birthday this past Thursday. And coming up this Tuesday, Alice R. and Dave R., unrelated, celebrate their 80th birthday, each on the same day.
And we had one sorrow come in this morning. Linda and Stuart Smith contracted COVID after a funeral for her brother-in-law, I believe. So the worst is over, but they're on the mend. So thinking of Linda and Stuart.
We're also thinking of Michelle M., whose beloved furry companion and support dog, Dawson, died this week. Also, our thoughts are with Joanne St. Clair, a longtime member of this church community, currently living in Virginia. Joanne has been diagnosed with a stage 2 cancerous lesion on her gum and will undergo surgery on September 22nd. We send healing wishes her way, and you may contact Kathy O'Neill, who is acting as Joanne's intermediary in this difficult time.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, everybody, for holding space and witnessing what is true for all of us. May we hold these joys and sorrows and those yet unspoken gently in our hearts, and when the time comes, let them flow along. As I ring our temple bell, I invite you into a brief time of silence. I will ring the bell a second time as we continue our service.
Thank you to everyone for caring so much and having huge hearts. It's so wonderful to see our pastoral associates, our caring people, those who have volunteered to help take care of us, to listen, to see you up front each and every Sunday. It's also a pleasure to celebrate babies on the way, one in a few weeks and one in February, at least as far as staff is concerned, and any other babies who are out there, babies on the way, new life, we need new life. That is joy. Our closing words this morning are Atonement Day by Chaim Stern. Once more, Atonement Day has come. All pretense gone, naked heart revealed to the hiding self. We stand on holy ground between the day that was and the day that must be. We tremble. At what did we aim? How did we stumble? How or what did we take? What did we give? To what were we blind? Last year's confession came easily to the lips. Will this year's come from deeper than the skin? Say then, why are our paths strewn with promises like fallen leaves? Say then, when shall our lust be for wisdom? Say now, love and truth shall meet, justice and peace shall embrace. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit, and let us sing or hum our closing song, Fire of Commitment. You'll find it 1028 in your Teal hymn book. I invite you to sing this with spirit because in the spirit of Yom Kippur, as we visited with our Jewish friends in theology this morning, we have a chance for a new beginning. We can begin in love, and we can commit to do so. Let us sing Fire of Commitment. It is so good to be together, in person and online. We are a loving community, and I can hardly wait till this pandemic is over. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it is so good to be with you. If you're at home and you have your chalice or your candle, I invite you to bring it close once again so we can extinguish our flame together. Our chalice extinguishing words are taken from our vision. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love. Our chalice is extinguished, but the flame lives on in our hearts. Till we meet again, let's enjoy the choral benediction, followed by a postlude. This is the day we've been given. Go now in peace.